YouTube, Webberz05 here, coming in today with just a bit of a tournament report on what happened last night at locals. So before I get into the profile, just want to do a couple of quick shout outs to new subscribers of RDA All The Way. Apologies if I get this wrong. Alexandros, Toe Rides, and Blue Shorts 001. So thank you guys for as the new subscribers. You're the reason my channel is growing stronger. I additionally want to give a shout out to my friend Noah for sorting me out my deceptions, which really came in huge handy in my tournament yesterday. So thank you so much, Noah. And so without further ado, just want to talk about what happened in my tournament. So yesterday we had an absolute massive turnout of I think it was 18 people in the end, which technically speaking was supposed to be 5 rounds, but because of what our locals is we only had the time to play 4 rounds. But in the end, the results were definitive, so it didn't really make a huge difference. I just got a look. However, I got kind of messed over by tiebreakers. I ended on a 3-1 record, but I was unfortunately the lowest of the 3-1 records, so I ended up in 5th place. But I'll take it. So, as for what my matchups were like, round 1, it was against my friend Max. So for Max, people that don't know, who haven't seen the profile on my channel, Max plays Madolche. He's done Madolche for years. Actually I borrowed his Madolche several years ago to play in a celebration event and went on and won the entire thing with it. So yeah, my round was against Max. Game 1. Pretty sure I won the die roll and went first. I set up a pretty average board, but I ended on the double diabell. He goes for lightning storm to take out my monsters, unfortunately, which prevents that. And then from there, I kind of just controlled with a matter of I controlled some of his back row by going with Vengeance to pop it. And then after he set up a decent amount of monsters before he was about to sub, getting ready for an XZ summon, I chose the Vengeance at the right point, popped something, and then did the effect to summon Silvera and just booked his board. And from there, kind of just controlled it from there, which was really good. And then kind of similar thing in game 2, just kind of. Was it a quickly swift? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did quickly swift and then that one. So yeah, game 2, kind of just the same thing. I just controlled with the diabells, with the double diabells. They're just honestly so great. Honestly, guys, it's kind of weird. The deck is White Forest, but kind of the best card in the deck is the Diabell Star Vengeance, which isn't White Forest at all. But naturally, guys, based on its effects, it was kind of designed to just be White Forest. So. And then my round 2 opponent was an interesting one. That was against Traptrix, which I haven't seen in God knows how long. I thought Traptrix kind of just blew off the map, but, you know, hey, some people still like it. So that was interesting. That was kind of interesting. Pretty sure I think I won the die roll on that one. I think I won the die roll on that one as well. Game 1, went first. Again, similarly, just kind of controlled the board. I basically just controlled the board, tried to stop him going off. He did make a play against me with Terror of the Overage to try and switch out one of my monsters. I counteracted it, though, with an Imperm in the correct column. Naturally, I can't use it to affect the Sarah, but it did stop the Terror from the Overage from working, which was pretty nice. And then from there, I think it was kind of, again, the Diabell Star control. Honestly, Diabell's the White Witch, huge against Traptrix, because it's just Traptrix is big on destruction, and she says nope. So it's just great like that. Game 2, naturally, since I won the game 1, game 2, Traptrix obviously decided to go first, and like a trap deck, just goes for a set 5 and pass. Then from there, the traps did kind of slow me down for the first couple of turns. Took a small bit of damage, but I kind of just bided my time a bit, waited. I didn't want to play too much into it. I did try and go for the setup of the Diabellstar Vengeance. Unfortunately, I got hit by Gravedigger's Trap Hole and burnt out and got dealt some damage. That was the natural risk of going against Traptrix. But from there, I just kind of bided my time, waited, and then waited till I hit my thrust. I kind of just baited my opponent through for him to go play a trap, go Sarah effect to special one, and then from there I'm like, perfect. Activate thrust, grab Feather Duster, clear the back row, then I just took control from there. And subsequently swifted the opponent 2-0. Feels so nice when you just do Duster against a trap deck. Round 3, my opponent was against my friend Hisham, who's on Memento Goblin, which was pretty interesting matchup. I'm still not entirely sure like where the right lines are to hit in Memento, so I did struggle a little bit in this matchup. So I think game one he swifted me relatively easily because I just could not get round that I could not get around that 5k monster. Game 2, I pretty much took control from there. Game 3, he hand trapped me at a pretty decent point and kind of bricked me out of being able to do very much. I was able to end my first turn on a double Bestial of Magnemute and Druisworm, taking out a couple bits. I thought that would give me a decent enough defense that maybe I could get the match into a draw. And then he drops, oh, what was it called? I had to write this down because it was a card I'm not used to seeing. It was the Memento Akihiron, which is the one that states you can the level 9 or highest can just attack directly, and he had the 5k and the 3k, and they just smacked me direct for full damage. Like, how am I supposed to counteract that? Battle Fader? Do I really want to resort to playing Battle Fader in this format? Probably not. It's not. And then my round 4 opponent, I ended up playing Madolche again. But no, not the same person. Different one. Somebody else, but still. It's not a match with Madolche's, but since I know the Madolche matchup, wasn't too difficult. Game 1, similar thing again. I was able to go first. I set up the double Diabellstar, and opted on the option of wait for the right moment, Vengeance, pop something, Special Silvera, book the board. Special Silvera, book the board, and then just book the board. Did some damage out. I was also able to do, and from that position, and from there. I also opted on the position on the following turn. I did the Diabellstar Vengeance again, popped something else, and I chose to summon Poplar, put 2 into the back row. From there, I went for the Doom Dragon. Unfortunately, my opponent, since I had booked everything, my opponent didn't have a face-up monster for me to whack into their back row, and I didn't really feel like putting any of my monsters in the back row. Dealt a bit of damage, cleared their board, took out most of their life points. My opponent then proceeded to go Fenrir. I knew, like, okay, this is going to be a bit more difficult to try and play around, but I was able to play around it. When my opponents go to Fenrir, they did, I think it was a couple of summons to also throw up a Tiramisu, but they didn't really have the resources. They didn't really have the resources in Graves to be able to counteract. Oh no, wait, they did. Oh wait, they did have the resources in Graves to counteract, but I actually opted to go for, after the Tiramisu was dropped, I went chain 1 effective Vengeance, targeting Fenrir, chain it to Poplar. I synchroned off using the Poplar and Snake Eyes Doom Dragon to make the Snake Eye Vengeance Dragon. Took out the Fenrir after it had done its search for another Fenrir, which was the only card left in my opponent's hand. Summoned Vengeance. In the main phase went Vengeance effect, target the Tiramisu, put it into the back row. Set my opponent up for the Fenrir, but he couldn't do the search again. Opponent goes to battle phase. I'm like, cool. In battle phase, Vengeance effect, target Fenrir, target the Tiramisu, pop both, and then from there, that was just kidding. And then game 2 I had and that was also quite interesting as well. So pretty much my opponent went for a pretty standard board. They set up pretty well with I think it was Glass Souffle and Tiara Phrase with a couple of back row, which I know included a Promenade and another card I didn't know about. So I went for my standard set. Went for a setup, hit the Deception, tried to use Deception to search. My opponent chose to promenade the Deception. At that point. So I'm like, ew, that's kind of... Chose to promenade the Deception, which was slightly partially problematic, but whatever. It was what it was. I attempted to go... From there, I attempted to go into the Vengeance side. Discover my opponent had put a Gravedigger's Trap Hole against me, so stop the Vengeance, and then I couldn't do much else from that. However, after the shuffle that my opponent did from the Promenade, they did choose to summon Petting Sassoir, and then because they chose to use Petting Sassoir to special summon another monster, that meant they'd done a monster effect that turn, which meant I was able to go triple Tactics Thrust for my Howled Azamina, which I wasn't able to search because naturally my Deception got hit with a Promenade. And unfortunately for my opponent, I had enough... Because Vengeance is treated as a Sinful Spoils card, and I still had another Sinful Spoils card in my hand, I went... Activate Hallowed, revealed Saint Azamina, sent the two that were in my hand, summoned Saint, and then I was able to just sit behind Saint for one turn, because Saint basically just turns off Madolche's ability to do anything because they can't interact with their grave. So my opponent was essentially stuck there for one turn against a 4k defense monster that they couldn't get around. So basically that just forced my opponent to pass their turn. Went into my turn. Decided to use Saint as... Went into my turn. Awesome. And then from there, I got to do an absolute fun thing. I used the... Since I knew the only interaction my opponent had on my turn was Tiara Phrase, which was currently being shut down, I simply chose to go tribute the Saint Azamina, tribute Tiara Phrase, and I dropped the original Azamina on them. And since as I said, I had these Sinful Spoils in my hand from the previous turn to summon it, I still had my Deception on board, which was now locked. I had the Deception on board, so I'm like, effective Deception, game 15. You lose 15 and I gain 15. And then from there, that pretty much gave me the life point difference to win. So yeah, guys, overall I had a really great tournament with it. I really enjoyed testing out the new cards in the deck. And again, as I said, despite the deck is White Forest, the best card in the deck is literally that Diabell Self-Vengeance. It's just great. And for those who have been debating, do I want to play the Saint Azamina? Or not so much Saint Azamina. Most decks are playing Saint Azamina because it's just really good as a grave stopper. Personally, guys, I like having the original Azamina there as an option because it's just great for clearance for situations like that. Really good. So if anyone's thinking of trying it out, I would highly recommend doing so. So that pretty much sums up the tournament, guys. As I explained, it went 3-1. Really pleased with it. And I know now for next time I just need to do a bit more. I need to do a bit of research, figuring out what is the parts to stop in Memento. If anyone's got experience playing against Memento and has some tips for me, do feel free to comment down below. That would be really helpful. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.